Dan, welcome.
Mr. Chairman, members, thank you. For the record, Dan Gonzalez, Plumhoff House Research Staff. House Bill 2307 would exempt certain firearms, accessories, and ammunition that are commercially or privately manufactured in Arizona and which remain within the state of Arizona from federal interstate commerce laws and regulations. It would also allow for the importation of firearms, accessories, and generic or insignificant parts as defined within the bill, which are incorporated into, attached, or used in conjunction with firearms, accessories, or ammunition manufactured in Arizona. The bill also contains a legislative findings section and would become effective October 1st, 2010. Members, the language of the bill closely mirrors similar legislation introduced in various other states, the primary example being that of Montana House Bill 246, also known as the Montana Firearms Freedom Act. Mr. Chairman, I'm available for any questions.
Are there any questions for Dan? Thank you. We have the sponsor of the bill with us, Representative McLean.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Nancy McLean, representative for District 3. I'm sorry, we had a vote, so I couldn't come in when I was first called. I'm sure staff did an excellent job of presenting this, and he did mention the Montana Firearms Freedom Act. It's also been passed by the state in Tennessee, and it's been introduced in another 21 states, which would include Arizona. The actual basic point of this bill is to allow states to start exercising their sovereignty under the 10th Amendment. It would apply to the Commerce Clause in the U.S. Constitution, which various government agencies and the court seem to be using more and more and more to impose federal restrictions and regulations on interstate commerce based on the Commerce Clause. And some of us think that they have perhaps gone just a bit too far in that, and it's time that we start taking steps to reassert our sovereignty as a state. That's basically the reason, but I'd certainly be happy to answer any questions if members have them.
Are there any questions for Representative McLean?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Representative McLean, has the Montana Act been challenged in court by the federal government?
There is a federal case pending. The government has, actually the case was filed by the original sponsor of this bill, which is the Montana, it's MSSF, and I'm going to find that. I thought I had it highlighted, but I don't. It's the Montana Shooting Sports Association. And they actually filed an action, and the federal government has responded asking that the case be dismissed for lack of standing for the plaintiffs. And that's where it stands right now. So there's really been no action on it.
All right, any other questions?
Thank you, members.
Thank you much. Also signed in wishing to speak, if necessary, John Wentling. Do you want? No.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee. My name is John Wentling, Vice President of the Arizona Citizens Defense League, and we stand strongly supportive of this legislation. As Representative McLean, the sponsors mentioned, reestablishing our sovereignty. I was recently reading a Dick Morris article where he said we have 50 republics within a republic. I stand strongly in favor of that fundamental principle. So yes, I would strongly urge you to support this legislation.
All right,
and I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Any questions for Mr. Wentling? Thank you. Also signed in wishing to speak, if necessary, Dave Kopp. Was that via ditto there? All right. All right. Let's see. Also signed in support of the bill. Oh, we also have Arno Nikel wishing to speak to the bill.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members. Excuse my loss of voice. I'm dragging myself out of my sick bed to come down here this morning. I am the author of the preamble, Section 2 of this bill. I'm also the de facto Arizona representative for a loose association of legislators and concerned citizens across the United States who are garnering support for the people of Montana in their lawsuit against the federal government. I would point out before I go further that the bill here in section D4 has an error in it. I would point you to the word projectiles. The word projectile should be replaced by rounds and ammunition. Otherwise, this has a detrimental effect to shotguns. It would not apply to shotguns, which would be an oversight. I strongly recommend the committee and the state of Arizona pass this law by unanimous consent to show support for the state of Montana and the state of Tennessee, who is also considering litigation in this area. At the grassroots level, Arizona benefits by opening up additional manufacturing opportunities for their citizens to manufacture these various pieces and ammunition for firearms. In addition, this legislation supports the Heller decision, which basically said that the federal government cannot regulate individuals such that their weapons have to be disassembled before they can be stored properly. The Heller decision says that this is a Second Amendment right, is a fundamental personal right guaranteed by the Constitution. The federal government's ability to regulate the ammunition and the manufacture of weapons is nothing short of a ability to prevent people from owning weapons. Without a firearm, without ammunition, a firearm is useless, just as if maintaining it in a disassembled configuration is also rendering it useless. I would also point out, as Mr. McLean said, that this is a step to assert the state sovereignty. The Bill of Rights guarantees the powers not granted to the federal government in Article 1, Section 8, to the states and to the people, and to the extent that the Bill of Rights, or to the extent that the federal government is using the Commerce Clause to override the Bill of Rights, is blatantly unconstitutional and should be withheld and challenged in every state in the United States. I'm more than happy to answer any questions about the litigation in Montana or any of else.
Are there any questions?
No question. Thank
Ms.
you,
Bartow.
Mr. Chairman. Mr. Nakel, do you know if the Montana legislation, was it a constitutional measure or a statute?
It was a statute.
I appreciate your promoting this in all the states. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Any other questions? Thank you for your testimony. Mr. Ash, could you read the other people that are signed in?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, also signed in this bill, not wishing to speak, Seth Apfel, who is neutral on the bill, representing himself. For the bill, Linda Bentley, representing herself. For the bill, Fred Streeter, representing himself. And for the bill, Dustin Deppy, representing himself.
All right. Any other questions or comments from the committee before we call the roll? If not, Secretary will please call the roll.
Ms. Bartow?
Mr. Chairman, just briefly,
Please.
I just would like to reiterate my my gratefulness to the sponsor and to Mr. Nakel and for their efforts. And I really appreciate the fact that citizens are rising up across America, across Arizona, on issues such as our Second Amendment rights, our health care rights, and our freedom from overtaxation. And I vote aye.
Mr. Koenig?
Aye.
Miranda? Mr. Montenegro?
Aye.
Ms. Cinema? Ms. Tovar?
No.
Mr. Ash?
Aye.
Mr. Driggs?
Aye. By your vote of 5 aye, 1. Oh,
I was in the room before you finished the vote.
oh, would you like to vote? Please.
I vote no.
Thank you.